The objectives of this presentation, as you can tell, I'm not going to try to read all the slides to you, but we want to talk about previous barriers and relationships between security and law enforcement on campuses. Even if they are campus police, they tend to be treated a little bit differently. We're going to discuss overcoming those barriers, understand the responsibilities or similarities between what security and police do on college campuses, evaluate expectations, establish better communications, assist in enhancing training, and develop respect for each other's jobs and careers, and expectations. Historically, there's been friction between law enforcement and security, regardless what field, be it campus security or regular street security. At least that's the way it is in the Midwest. There's a lot of reasons for that. As you can tell, there's training differences. In Kansas, and specifically Sedgwick County, where I'm at, the metro area, a security officer, the most training they can get is 100 hours. They are all required to attend 32 hours. That's a basic security officer. Now, if they want to carry little gizmos on their belt, they have to go through another 32 hours. After that, if they want to carry a handgun, they have to go through another 32 hours, roughly 100 hours total, and that's all they get. Officers obviously get hundreds and hundreds more hours than security. We get in Kansas a little over 950 hours of training in the academy, 23 weeks. So there's a huge discrepancy there. The communication between the way security talks and the way police officers talk are two different things. Anybody can recognize a police officer as soon as they sit down across from the table and are actually, acknowledging things with either saying affirmative or 10-4. Obviously, you can pick up those type of terms right off the bat. Well, we have a different culture. Law enforcement in general have a different culture. And security wants so bad to get into that culture, it causes this rift, because we'd call them wannabes or the rent-a-cops or whatever. But in reality, they're striving to do exactly what the officers want them to do. Workload is very similar. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but yet it's a lot different because the amount of calls an officer goes to versus that of a security officer are two different things. And often, the law enforcement officer perceives that a security officer is just adding to his workload, his caseload. And there are things that security can do to help alleviate that problem. Then, of course, there are rumors. And, there's Paul Harvey did a speech about law enforcement officers, and they talk about how the failure rate of law enforcement officers or security officers in general is it's so slim. It's less than that of the general clergy from any religion. And it's very true. 1/2 of 1% of police officers turn up and do something bad. And it's disappointing that happens, but it's going to happen in any field. I don't care if you're a doctor, police officer, politician. Yeah, right. The percentages are different amongst them, but 1/2 of 1% is one of the best ratios of criminal or violent activity. And then the resources are different for security and law enforcement, and it can be different both ways. Sometimes law enforcement have the resources, sometimes security do.